Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be discussing is, if you haven't heard the news already, it's a little bit old news, but Denver Broncos have announced that they're going to be possibly moving forward without Russell Wilson. It has been reported. You already saw the last two games. He was benched. He did not play those last two games of the season. And the reasoning behind it was Sean Payton said was a football decision, but then the reports kind of came out from the front office is that they did it to try and save money, possibly saving a $40+ million dead cap hit that they would avoid if Russell Wilson did not pass his physical of this upcoming spring. Basically a way of them saying they don't want to spend unreasonable money on Russell Wilson. They tried to, in the middle of the season, try to make him negotiate, try to make him cut back on the money a little bit. Russell Wilson, obviously, you want your money. He said no. With that happening, they then had to find a way, okay, how can we avoid him not getting this $40 million of money given directly to him, because if he got hurt, he'd be owed this money no matter what. Let's do this. Let's bench him. Let's keep him off this team. Where now he can go past his physical without any problems, and we don't have to worry about paying him that unnecessary money. But ever since that happened, like I said, there's been questions about, is he going to be wanting to stay with the Denver Broncos? Do the Denver Broncos even want to stay with him? Sean Payton, he's a very picky guy. He's the kind of guy with a system where he just wants you to do this and this and this, do what I tell you. Whereas Russell Wilson, he's the kind of guy where he's going to just go out there and play his game. He's going to have fun. The two very opposite types of players, player to coach, kind of working together right now. Everybody thought they would both work together pretty well. So far, it looked good, but I guess behind the scenes, not very well, to be honest. So what I wanted to do in this video is I kind of want to talk about a couple of teams that maybe he could go to and give my reasoning as to why it kind of makes sense. And then you guys, if you want, you can comment down below what your opinion is on where you think he will go. You think he's going to stay with Denver, or do you think he could go somewhere else? Like I said, I think he could end up staying in Denver in 2024, but in the purpose of could he move to a new team, that's what this video is for. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, before I go any further, like I said, the whole entire news about the Russell Wilson thing and everything that has to do with the Denver Broncos, the kind of the debates of him being owed the dead cap hit money for the injury clause and all that sorts of stuff, everything to do with all that stuff, I'll put a link in the description to an article I found on ESPN if you want to read up on it and kind of catch your knowledge of it as well. So what I kind of did is I kind of went through all 32 teams, and I just kind of went through and I went one by one saying, okay, does this team have a quarterback? If they do, move on. If they have a quarterback that's kind of good, I kind of looked into it and said, okay, how could Russell Wilson maybe fit in? Can they afford him? If it's a no, I move on. So, and throughout that, I went and got about maybe 6 or 7 teams that I can say Russell Wilson, this team could possibly try to afford him, and then if he went there, he would be a huge upgrade over what they currently have now. And like I said, some of these you might not agree with me, some of these you may agree with me. So like I said, if you have a different opinion, leave it in the comments. First up, we have the New England Patriots. Now, I understand New England Patriots just fired Bill Belichick. Well, parted ways with Bill Belichick. They hired Jared Mayo to be the new head coach of the New England Patriots. They're going to be going forward with Mac Jones, maybe. If they decide to go for it and get rid of Mac Jones, maybe decide to go get a proven veteran, get somebody in there that can coach or play it with this offense, there's a possibility that Russell Wilson could be the guy. Now, I think they can afford him. They do have a lot of money saved up over these next 2 or 3 years because they're not really paying any real talent on this team currently. So if they wanted to go get Russell Wilson, a player like him, they could. And with the way Russell's been kind of playing and the way the negativity, the narrative has been around Russell Wilson, he might not be worth 3 first-round picks. He might be able to be gotten for maybe 1 first-round pick, maybe a late-round pick if we're being honest. Like I said with the Patriots, are they going to be questionable when it comes to their offensive coordinator right now? Yes. News has not broken at the time of recording this of who the offensive coordinator is going to be. All we know is Jared Mayo is the head coach. He's going to have to get a new coaching staff in there. If he can get a really good offensive coordinator in there, and they could possibly get some playmakers in there, draft a receiver in the upcoming draft, who knows if this offense could turn itself around. And with Russell Wilson at the helm, I think this team could be dangerous. Next up, this one isn't really a very good choice. It's just more of, if you guys agree with me, I'd be curious on it. But Pittsburgh Steelers dropped Russell Wilson into that team, and there's been talk over the last season, 2 years ago, whenever Russell Wilson was kind of on the waiver wire, it was him, Aaron Rodgers, and all these different quarterbacks of, oh man, if Pittsburgh got this guy, they'd be so good. Russell Wilson was floated out there. Imagine Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson on the team, Mike Tomlin coaching. Mike Tomlin already can get this team to 9-10 wins on his own with bum quarterbacks in Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph. Imagine Russell Wilson on that team. Oh my God, you'd win the AFC North immediately. Your receivers are looking really well. Your tight ends look good. George Pickens has developed into a very good receiver right now. Deontay Johnson wasn't looking really good in the first half of the season. Ever since then, he's been lighting up the scoreboard. Touchdowns, yards, catches. He's been amazing. And with the run game good looking as good as it's been looking, I think Russell Wilson can step in there and just don't make the stupid mistakes. Do some read option with Najee Harris and some of the guys. Get the run going. You can throw the ball deep to George Pickens. He's going to catch your go balls. I think with Russell Wilson on that Steelers team, like I said, AFC North would be they'd be scared of the Steelers. This team might not happen because it is an in-division rival, but the Raiders could possibly be looking to go after Mark Davis. He's desperate for winning. He's going to be looking for a new head coach this offseason. Who says he's going to look at his quarterback and say, well, I have Aiden O'Connell and I have Jimmy Garoppolo? Who says he doesn't look out and say, I want Russell Wilson? Go get me Russell Wilson and I could make this offense electric. And now I realize he's already had Derek Carr. He could have just signed back Derek Carr when he had the chance, but he didn't. That was more of a Josh McDaniels thing. With Mark Davis now having Josh McDaniels gone, and he has the right to make decisions now if he's even going to be bringing back Antonio Pierce as his head coach. Russell Wilson would make sense for the Raiders. Russell Wilson is a very diva-ish kind of guy. Vegas. It would make sense in some ways. The Raiders already have a really good defense going for them. They have a little bit of a run game with Josh Jacobs. I don't know if he's been signed back just yet. You have Devontae Adams. You had Hunter Renfrow. I don't know if Hunter Renfrow has been signed back yet or not. He was coming in towards like the last year or two of his contract, so who knows what he's going to be looking like coming into this season, if he's going to want another contract or something like that. But I'm telling you, Russell Wilson on the Raiders will be a really good looking team right there. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders. Now, the Commanders are a weird team because I feel like they're going to be looking more of going into the draft. If they decide not to bring back Sam Howell and they decide to go the draft route, they could be looking at plenty of guys from a Caleb Williams to a Jaden Daniels, a Drake May. The names go on and on. But with Josh Harris coming in to be the new owner, he's looking to just revamp this whole franchise along with Magic Johnson. They're trying to just change the landscape of Washington. Who says they don't go out there and just say, let's just go get a veteran guy, bring in Russell Wilson, bring him in. Who cares about the money? Josh Harris can afford it. Let's get him in here and let's win some titles. The problem I would have is I don't know if Russell Wilson is going to like playing in Washington. He's going to like being in Maryland. I don't know if he's like that kind of style, or living in Virginia. My bad. That team needs to figure its shit out. Living in Virginia but playing in Maryland, I don't understand that. But getting back on track, the Washington Commanders are going to be hiring a new head coach. They're going to be having this offense still, I think, with Eric Bieniemy. I don't know if he's going to be coming back or not. If he does come back, who says Russell Wilson wouldn't like working with Eric Bieniemy? Eric Bieniemy, I realize Eric Bieniemy is a tough-minded coach, and Russell Wilson has been a little bit of a pussy here lately. But with Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, De'Ami Brown, you got Brian Robinson, you got a lot of these guys, Antonio Gibson, a lot of these elite players. The offensive line has not been great. If you can fix that offensive line, this team could be dangerous. And the defense, their problem is I feel like they have players there to be a good defense. They just need a good coordinator. And I don't know what happened. Jack Del Rio used to be a great defensive coordinator. He was great with Washington the first year he was there. But ever since then, he's been going from like top 5 to 10 to 20 to last. But like I said, Russell Wilson on the Commanders and that offense, that team, I wouldn't say they're going to be winning the division and by no means, but I think they could really compete for at least getting back into the playoff contention. Wild card, 10 wins, 11 wins maybe. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I understand the Atlanta Falcons, they might be looking for more of a cheaper route. They could possibly go in for a Justin Fields route. Maybe they go and try to draft somebody in the NFL draft this year, or maybe they just decide to stay with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. If they decide to stay with Desmond Ridder, they're stupid. If they decide to go at Justin Fields or maybe a draft route, I understand it. But just imagine the offensive pieces they have in Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London. The pieces go on and on with that offense. And you just drop in Russell Wilson right there on your offense at the quarterback position. Get a good offensive-minded coach in there to be the offensive coordinator slash head coach. This team could be what we thought the Raiders were going to be a couple years ago when Josh McDaniels became the head coach. They could become this kind of offense that just nobody's going to stop. They have pieces on pieces everywhere. Then the quarterback can just go out there, and if he can make the right throws with the way he throws the ball, I think Russell could cook up every defense in the league if he was on this Atlanta team. But other than that, that's pretty much 5 teams I've kind of gone through. There was a couple other teams in here that I've thought about. Maybe the Bears, maybe the Vikings. I thought about the Titans, but they have Will Levis. Maybe they'll just try to roll with him. And I've seen some reports online talking about, oh, maybe he'll go back to Seattle. I'm not buying that. But I mean, when I look at those 5 teams, like I said, those 5 teams, there's a possibility he could go to them. Like I said, you have Falcons, you have Commanders, you have the Raiders, you have the Steelers, and you have the Patriots. Those teams make sense in my eyes for if he went there, those teams would be immediately cooking on offense and they'd be able to compete for playoff spots. If you disagree with me, that's fine, but like I said, that's just my opinion. But I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go into enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you stayed to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said throughout the video, if you disagree with any of these points and disagree with any of the teams that he possibly could go to, if you have a different team from the teams I named that you think he might go to, or if you think he's just going to go back to Denver, like I said, there always is the possibility of him just staying in Denver. This was more or less of just if he were to say, I want out of Denver, teams that he could possibly go to. So if you disagree or agree with me on any of these teams, like I said, leave a comment down below as to what your opinion is on the whole entire thing. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.